The LPGA Tour had Caitlin Clark play, and the LPGA, fans, well, the event was taken over.
In a world where women's sports fight for attention, one athlete is rewriting the rules, and the leagues that once defined her may never be the same. The LPGA's invitation to Caitlin Clark wasn't merely a courtesy. It was a seismic statement, a declaration that the convergence of talent, charisma, and marketability could transcend the boundaries of traditional sports hierarchies. From the moment Clark arrived, the arena pulsed with a palpable energy, a wave of anticipation that seemed almost electric. As fans of all ages, many who had never followed basketball or golf flooded in to witness her presence. Cameras flashed incessantly, social media feeds exploded with highlights, and every movement she made was dissected, shared, and celebrated in real-time force of nature, a generational athlete capable of drawing attention in any arena. And the LPGA recognized this immediately, leveraging her presence to amplify their visibility, attract sponsors, and generate a cultural moment that extended far beyond the fairways. Yet inside this whirlwind, the contrast with the WNBA could not have been more glaring, more immediate, or more politically charged. While the LPGA openly embraced Clark, celebrating her arrival as chance to redefine the visibility of women's sports, the WNBA responded with a quieter, more cautious tension that permeated locker rooms, press conferences, and boardroom discussions alike. Veteran players watched from the sidelines with a mixture of curiosity, apprehension, and subtle envy. League executives debated internally how to address a phenomenon they had nurtured in talent, but seemingly struggled to capitalize on in strategy. Every accolade she received outside basketball seemed to reflect a deficiency within her own league. If Clark could generate fervor, headlines, and financial excitement elsewhere, why wasn't the WNBA harnessing her presence in a way that expanded their audience, attracted younger fans, or elevated sponsorship potential? The whispers circulated quickly among insiders, analysts, and commentators. Was the league's protective approach suppressing the brightest star it had ever produced? Or was it a strategic calculation to preserve internal hierarchies, veteran status, and carefully cultivated narratives? The tension reached beyond simple professional rivalry. It became a cultural moment, a reflection of the broader struggle women's sports face in balancing tradition with growth, exclusivity with innovation, and legacy with transformation. Every highlight reel from the LPGA event, every viral clip of Clark signing autographs, interacting with fans, mentoring young athletes, or even casually engaging with fellow players, became subtle but undeniable argument that leagues must evolve to stay relevant. Fans on social media drew stark comparisons. Here was a rookie basketball star lighting up arenas in a sport that was not hers, bringing entire families and audiences into a new ecosystem of visibility. While at home, she navigated hard fouls, media scrutiny, and the subtle pressures of a league that still subtly taught rookies their place. The contrast could not have been more evident, and it amplified the sense of urgency surrounding her career trajectory, as well as the existential questions facing the WNBA. Meanwhile, the LPGA leveraged Clark's presence with strategic brilliance, aligning sponsors, media partners, and television networks to highlight her every interaction, generating coverage that extended beyond the sports pages into mainstream culture, fashion, lifestyle, and entertainment media. Ticket sales surged, merchandise featuring her name or likeness became instant hits, and casual viewers found themselves drawn into the narrative of a sports phenomenon capable of bridging multiple disciplines and fan bases. Clark's arrival wasn't just a moment of recognition. It was demonstration that her brand, influence, and talent had value far beyond a single league, proving that women's sports could thrive when audiences were engaged across multiple arenas and when athletes were treated as cultural ambassadors rather than restricted by tradition. Inside the WNBA, the implications were immediate, uncomfortable, and politically charged. Executives faced a dilemma: continue protecting traditional hierarchies at the expense of marketing and growth opportunities, or embrace the disruptive force Clark represented, risking internal tension among veterans, but potentially unlocking a new era of visibility, sponsorship, and cultural relevance. Players who had once questioned her meteoric rise suddenly reassessed her influence, understanding that the ripple effects of her visibility extended far beyond the court, and that fans, sponsors, and media were increasingly focused on the league's ability to celebrate her impact rather than constrain it. Clark's presence didn't just fill seats, it electrified arenas, created viral content, and activated audiences in ways the WNBA had rarely witnessed in its modern era. Families who had never attended professional sporting events queued for hours just to see her. Smartphones captured every moment, and social media exploded with clips of Clark signing autographs, offering encouragement and interacting naturally with other athletes, revealing charisma and confidence blended seamlessly with humility. She became a living symbol of possibility, proof that talent and personality could captivate audiences far beyond any single sport. Veteran LPGA players noticed immediately. Nelly Korda described Clark as breath of fresh air, remarking on how her presence inspired a new generation to care about women's athletics. And this sentiment was echoed by many who recognized that Clark's appeal extended beyond competition into cultural influence, marketing potential, and the broader storytelling of women's sports. The LPGA harnessed her visibility with precision, ensuring every highlight, interaction, and interview was amplified for maximum impact, while merchandise and sponsorships capitalized on her unprecedented crossover appeal. Clark's ability to bridge audiences, bringing basketball fans, casual viewers, and families into golf, illustrated the power of a truly transcendent athlete, one capable of elevating an entire sports narrative and commercial prospects. Yet, the contrast with the WNBA was stark. While the LPGA celebrated innovation and growth, basketball's governing bodies often treated Clark's meteoric rise with skepticism or subtle hostility, using veiled warnings, whispered attempts to teach humility, and internal politics to signal discomfort with the shift in attention. Each viral clip of her success outside basketball became a reflection of what the league risked by underestimating her, highlighting a choice every professional organization faces: embrace transformative talent or risk stagnation. Beyond arenas and locker rooms, the cultural impact rippled across social media, mainstream media, and public discourse. Commentators debated her influence, fans shared viral content, and analysts recognized Clark as a cultural force capable of redefining the visibility of female athletes globally. She wasn't just attracting attention, she was shaping perceptions, setting a standard for star power, and creating a blueprint for how female athletes could dominate conversations in multiple sports simultaneously. Clark's appeal was universal, her presence transformative, and her potential limitless. The LPGA didn't just witness a basketball star crossing over. They witnessed the birth of a phenomenon capable of altering the landscape of women's sports forever. Her arrival was a declaration that talent, charisma, and ambition could transcend leagues, redefine narratives, and capture the world's imagination. While golf celebrated her, the WNBA felt unease ripple through its ranks. Inside locker rooms, conversations once centered on strategy, plays, and camaraderie now carried undertones of tension, jealousy, and reassessment of priorities. Veteran players who had fought to build the league under challenging conditions now saw a rookie commanding unprecedented attention from media, fans, and sponsors, raising subtle questions about the balance between legacy and emerging talent. Social media debates mirrored these dynamics. Some fans criticized Clark for stealing attention, framing her fame as a potential destabilizer, while others passionately argued that embracing her visibility was essential for growth. The tension became a multifaceted dilemma with cultural, economic, and competitive implications, reflecting the broader struggle women's sports face in balancing respect for tradition with the demands of a modern, media-driven landscape. On one hand, leagues are guardians of history, stewards of the legacies built by pioneers who fought for recognition, fair compensation, and visibility. On the other hand, they operate in a world where attention is fragmented, social media dictates influence, and fans crave connection with athletes beyond the confines of the court or field. Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise exposed this friction. Her crossover appeal and cultural relevance created unprecedented opportunities for growth, sponsorships, and fan engagement, yet it also challenged the established order. The league's hesitancy to fully embrace her underscored a critical question: can tradition coexist with innovation, or will rigid hierarchies hinder the evolution of women's sports at a time when adaptability is everything? Clark remained focused amid the scrutiny, aware that each practice, interview, and public appearance carried weight beyond the game itself. Her philosophy of promoting female athletic unity across all sports, attending events, mentoring younger players, celebrating peers, underscored the irony of the WNBA's cautious response. Every highlight, tweet, and media moment became a reflection of a league's hesitation to adapt, creating a public narrative of missed opportunity and internal discord. Meanwhile, the LPGA demonstrated how collaboration could drive growth, showing that welcoming talent across disciplines doesn't threaten established players, but rather elevates the entire ecosystem, bringing in fresh audiences, sponsorships, and media engagement. Clark's crossover success illustrated the stark contrast between a league willing to innovate and one resistant to change. Her presence ignited conversations, drew new fans, and inspired young athletes, proving that modern women's sports thrive when storytelling, personality, and talent align across platforms and disciplines. The WNBA's protective instincts, while rooted in preserving veteran influence and internal culture, inadvertently risked alienating audiences and constraining growth, sending signals that exceptional talent could be undervalued in the name of tradition. In today's sports landscape, dominated by social media, global attention, and commercial opportunity, the LPGA's openness and the WNBA's hesitation couldn't be more instructive. Clark's rise forced a critical question. Would leagues evolve to embrace generational talent capable of transforming visibility, fandom, and revenue, or cling to traditional hierarchies and risk irrelevance? Her influence, transcending any single court or arena, reshaped perceptions, proving that crossover appeal, charisma, and collaborative energy are not threats, but catalysts for growth. As audiences, media, and sponsors watched, it became evident that Caitlin Clark was no longer confined to basketball. She had become a phenomenon whose impact could elevate any league willing to adapt. The LPGA's strategic embrace contrasted sharply with the WNBA's measured caution, highlighting lessons about innovation, risk, and the power of star athletes to redefine entire sports ecosystems. Clark's rise wasn't just about individual achievement. It symbolized a paradigm shift in how women's sports can grow, engage, and inspire across platforms, disciplines, and audiences. Fans, athletes, and executives alike were reminded that the future of women's sports depends on those who recognize opportunity, amplify talent, and embrace transformative narratives. Clark's journey illuminated the potential for collaboration over competition, growth over protectionism, and innovation over tradition, making it clear that leagues failing to recognize and capitalize on generational stars risk stagnation, while those embracing the change can redefine the very nature of visibility, fandom, and culture. Her story became a blueprint, a lesson, and a challenge. In a landscape where audiences are global, media is instantaneous, and talent knows no boundaries, success belongs to those willing to leverage every asset, every personality, and every story. Caitlin Clark's influence isn't limited to a single court. It is a ripple effect reshaping women's athletics, elevating the profile of entire leagues, inspiring a generation, and demanding that organizations adapt or risk being left behind. The LPGA's celebration, the WNBA's hesitation, and Clark's unstoppable presence together illustrate a pivotal moment in sports history, a moment where visibility, charisma, and talent intersect to challenge old hierarchies and redefine what's possible. Clark isn't just playing basketball or attending a golf event. She is crafting a new paradigm for women's sports, showing that engagement, inclusivity, and crossover appeal are as vital as points, trophies, or rise as both inspiration and warning. The leagues that recognize, embrace, and amplify generational talent will thrive, while those that resist risk irrelevance. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing the game anymore. She's rewriting it. And as leagues hesitate, the world watches, knowing that when she takes her next step, women's sports will never look the same. Every decision she makes now, every endorsement she accepts, every appearance she makes in arenas beyond her primary sport becomes a statement of influence, a subtle yet undeniable challenge to organizations that cling to outdated hierarchies. Clark's presence transcends individual statistics or game-winning performances. She embodies a shift in power dynamics, where athletes are not merely participants, but architects of culture, business, and visibility. The WNBA, faced with this reality, finds itself at a crossroads. It can embrace the cultural momentum Clark brings, leveraging her appeal to broaden reach and deepen fan engagement, or it can risk remaining insular, preserving internal structures at the cost of wider relevance. Each moment Clark captivates attention outside of basketball is simultaneously a mirror reflecting the league's potential and a magnifying glass exposing its reluctance to innovate. Her influence forces a reckoning with the very definition of star power. No longer confined to points scored or championships won, it now encompasses marketability, cross-sport resonance, social media magnetism, and the ability to inspire a new generation of fans, while simultaneously challenging traditional hierarchies, redefining influence, and expanding the cultural footprint of women's sports. Clark's trajectory also sends a message to other young athletes. The path to impact is no longer linear, confined by traditional expectations of loyalty or singular focus. It is expansive, multifaceted, and strategically navigated. By stepping into spaces beyond basketball, by embracing opportunities in golf, media, and public engagement, Clark illustrates that influence is cultivated, not inherited, and that modern athletes wield the power to shape not only their careers, but entire industries. Her rise serves as both a blueprint and a cautionary tale. Leagues that recognize her worth will see growth, innovation, and renewed relevance, while those that fail to adapt may find themselves sidelined in an era where audience attention is the ultimate currency. Fans who have followed her journey from the early days of high school dominance to collegiate stardom and now professional breakthrough see in her a reflection of ambition, resilience, and the courage to defy convention. Young athletes see not just a role model on the court, but a pioneer, someone demonstrating that talent paired with vision can dismantle long-standing barriers. The anticipation of Clark's next move, her next endorsement, her next appearance, her next game, creates suspense not merely for sports outcomes, but for the very trajectory of women's athletics as a cultural phenomenon. Leagues, executives, and teammates alike are now acutely aware that Clark is more than a player. She is a catalyst. Every hesitation to celebrate her, every cautionary note about preserving tradition, becomes a risk, as audiences increasingly turn their attention to platforms, sports, and events that acknowledge and amplify extraordinary talent without restraint. Her rise, therefore, is both revolutionary and instructive, signaling that the future of women's sports will belong to those who embrace transformation rather than resist it. Caitlin Clark isn't merely participating in her sport, she is sculpting the landscape itself. And as the world continues to watch, one truth becomes undeniable. When Clark takes her next step, she will not only redefine her game, she will redefine the rules by which all women's sports are measured, celebrated, and remembered.